Hello everyone, welcome to CryptoPi. In today's video, I want to talk about how the Bitcoin will proceed from here. We have seen a slight, let's say, testing of the level at $106,000 approximately, approximately over there, and let's see what could happen now in the coming months. In the last video, we discussed about the Bitcoin rainbow wave indicator. I will show it again. You just have to go to TradingView, click on TradingView, or click on indicators and just write here Bitcoin rainbow wave. And once you select this one, you will get a pretty nice, visually colorful chart like this. There are various settings which you can set here based on different sections for rainbow bands, for minor lines, wave bands, and so on. And for this particular video, what I have done is I have selected some of them, and I want to mainly discuss about these three ones, not the fair value zone, perhaps in some other video. And I want to find the confluence between various indicators. So one of them is the rainbow wave. The other one is the white line, the white dashed line, and that is 200-week moving average. I would also like to see how does the wave, the rainbow wave, come to confluence with pi cycle, because we have seen in the last few cycles that pi cycle has identified the top of Bitcoin very at almost an exact time, maybe plus or minus 1 or 2 weeks. And all right, yeah, let's start. So a short recap from the previous video is that all of these blue lines which you see here, which are marked with H, and these are halving levels. So from time point of view, that's when the Bitcoin halving happens. And the purple line is the wave line, and it is also indicating us when the parabolic phase begins and when it is in the overbought territory and when it starts in the accumulation phase or distribution phase. The red lines here, they are basically, I have marked them as D, and I have named them as distribution phase just for simplicity, and the ones which are with A, I mark them as accumulation phase. So usually when the price crosses the D line, that's usually the point when Bitcoin is already done with the cycle. So it has already topped, or it is very close to the top, and the bear market begins. This conclusion or this statement is purely based on historical observation. Of course, we cannot know what will happen in this cycle, but we can manage our risk and start taking some profit, or if we want to re-enter it, we can think about strategy and look at these technical indicators, find their confluence, and see what is the best way to move forward. So in 2014, we see here that whenever the price crossed D line, we saw a bear market, and then whenever the price crossed the accumulation line, that's the green one, we saw that the bottom was in, and when the price crosses above the wave line, that's when the bull market begins again for Bitcoin. The emphasis is on the Bitcoin and not on altcoins, because given the history, usually the Bitcoin bull market lasts way longer, approximately 3 years, than the altcoin bull market. Altcoin or altcoin season, whatever you want to name it, whatever the crypto Twitter says that, yeah, every other month is altcoin season, but it fails to be an altcoin season. And this kind of analysis, yeah, one can do it, but it is much safer bet to think about Bitcoin cycles rather than altcoin cycles, because we get a very long term Bitcoin bull markets and a very short Bitcoin bear markets. And here in 2018 happened the same thing, that whenever the price crossed the red line, we saw that the distribution phase had begun, or basically, in other words, the bear market has begun. Bitcoin had its cycle top, and it went on up until 2018 November, and that's when it bottomed. It touched the 200-week moving average. Here also it touched in 2015 200-week moving average, and this was the point when the sentiment was very low. That means everyone, at least in the news and crypto, had a perception that Bitcoin is dead. This is exactly when Bitcoin starts rising up again, and it begins its bull market as soon as the price crosses the wave here. It may or may not touch the 200 moving average, or it might slightly touch it. However, the key point here is that whenever the price crossed this wave, we start seeing the beginning of the bull market. Bitcoin price over here, we thought that this is the cycle top for this particular season, or this particular cycle in 2021. And the reason was that a lot of indicators such as BuyCycle, so I will switch this on. Over here I want to mark the moving averages. So since we are focusing on cycle top, I only want to switch on the cycle top right now. Let's make them thicker. And what happened in this case was, you see that BuyCycle indicator showed us that this was the cycle top. However, the price was very far away from the distribution line. So price did see a pullback, it did come down, but it was not the end of the rally. The end of the rally came, or the cycle high was at this point, and this is officially the all-time high for the cycle in 2021. Although a lot of indicators mark this one as the cycle top. And when the price crossed the distribution line, we saw the bear market again, and the same story repeats itself, that the price went all the way to 200-week moving average, and it stayed there for a few weeks. When it crossed the accumulation line, it still stayed at a very low point, or let's say it's still in the accumulation zone. After staying a few weeks in accumulation zone, whenever it crossed the wave line, we started to see the bull rally, or the beginning of the bull market. And we are here right now after quite some time. So when did we start? Let's mark this one over here. We have been in 140 weeks since, if we consider this as the start of the bull market. So I consider the start of the bull market whenever the Bitcoin price crosses the purple line, the purple wave. Although some people mark the crossing of the price over 200 week as the start of the bull market, given what this particular indicator helps us understand from historical data, crossing of price over this wave somehow indicates that we are in the accumulation zone. We have accumulated enough Bitcoin, the bottom is in, and now it's time for 3 years of bull market. So 3 years would be approximately 150 weeks or so. And if I would have to make another measurement, let's take again from this line up until the distribution line, that's 146 weeks. So far, what we see is that we have not seen a crazy parabolic rally. Okay, that's not the intention. Let's get back to, let's remove this one. Let's get rid of this as well. Sometimes TradingView is a bit tricky to work with. All right, so the 3 weeks, not 3 weeks, but 3 years of bull market basically ends here. So on October 27th, it will be 146th week if we start considering that bull market begins at this particular crossing of price over this wave. So far we have not seen this. So far we have not seen our price to go above. So when did really the cycle top really happen in the past? If I look at the previous charts, so cycle top begins when the price crosses above the wave and it hits one of the higher bands. Here as well, it went up. However, this was not the real cycle top. We saw a pullback, and also at this point we were quite a few weeks far away. So this happened in April, and this particular distribution line was in November, so quite a few months away. And cycle top really happened over here in November, and that is above the purple line. Same thing goes in the cycle of November 2013, that the price crossed above and we saw the cycle high for this particular season. All right, so far we have not seen that. And how much is it needed for Bitcoin to go up to at least say that we stay consistent with our previous observation? Right now, if I have to move, we are approximately 25% away from crossing the purple line. Let's say it goes another 30-40%, and when it is at 40%, if this is the cycle high, and then it stays there for a few weeks, and then it crosses the distribution line, that's when it will be officially marked as the end of this cycle. I know that there are various analysts and they are crazy bullish that Bitcoin price will go to 1 million this cycle. Some have slightly lower estimates of reaching to 500,000, which is nice to hear. However, we can only do some understanding, some analysis based on what has happened historically. Obviously, it doesn't have to play out exactly what happened in the past, but these are the data points which we have. We have 4 cycles, so the 4th one is going on, or the 4th one is very early and probably not to consider because it was not trading with enough liquidity. So we have cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, and we are in the 4th cycle. So we only have 3 data points. Not too many, not too many to make a very knowledgeable, let's say, estimation or predictions. But what I think can be done is, given this historical data that we see that price crosses the wave and then the cycle top is in, and we start seeing the bear market once the price has crossed the D line, it is best to start taking some profit. If I switch on the bicycle top, we still see that bicycle top is both the moving averages are pretty far away. And if these two averages are pretty far away, and considering historical historical observation that now in the cycle of 2021, the crossing barely just happened. It in and basically bicycle top failed here. If you want to be strict enough that it tells you when the cycle really ends at the cycle top, this one, it failed. It only was successful in cycles before 2021, where we saw that the moving average crosses over. So the red moving average crosses over. We see the cycle top, and then it crosses down, basically telling us that this is the end of the bull market. And here it barely touched it. However, it was way too early, and that was not the cycle top. And when I look at this chart, there has been no crazy parabolic phases of Bitcoin which has happened in the previous cycle. So if there was no parabolic phase, except this few weeks here and here or here, for moving average to really cross up until here, we would require Bitcoin to really go very high in a span of 2 to 3 weeks. And compared to previous cycles, Bitcoin market cap has also increased. If an asset has a high market cap, it is very difficult for the asset to move with huge gains within a short span of time. It took gold almost a decade to reach to the level where it is right now. So for Bitcoin to go to 500,000 or 1 million within 3 weeks, or we are right now in September 15th, and this one is August 27th, and usually the cycle top happens before the price crosses the distribution line. So we have approximately 4 to 5 weeks. So in 4 to 5 weeks, if the price cycle is not able to cross, basically the model does not work anymore. It worked well in the past, or it was a good indication in the past, but now things have changed. Asset has changed. People involved in the asset has changed. So perhaps we might see a small blip here, a tiny little. Let's make it. Yeah, we might see a short one here. Go like this way, or here, and then maybe stay here when there will be alt season at this point, and probably the start of the bear market. So my guess is that we might reach around 153. I want to switch on one of the another indicator, which would be here, the wave bands. Not the wave bands, but let me see, the rainbow chart. Yeah. So price might reach up until this orange level over here, which comes to around 158, 160. So it might stay in this orange band and perhaps not go very high, because we have seen that the asset has grown much stronger. So Bitcoin's market cap has grown much bigger, and it's very difficult to move a asset which has a huge market cap. And that's my idea. I think if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but I would be happy to be more realistic than imagining that this cycle is different and it will go to crazy highs. If it finds a support here and I start seeing that the strength is still there and we won't see a bear market, then basically this rainbow wave model fails. So the way Pi cycle model has failed, rainbow wave model could also fail, and there might be some other model which would have to be evaluated, which would have to be understood, and basically react to what the market tells us to do. Either take profit and be happy about it, or wait for imaginary gains and suffer for another year or 1.5 year of bear market, and then wait for another 2 years for Bitcoin price to go up, and yeah, perhaps hope that it might go to our it might go above our entry price. I think that would be all for today's video. That is basically all from continuation of the last video. If you like the content, then do hit the subscribe button. And that would be all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.